Yo, what's up, homies? It's your boy, Lutar, thank you for creating. Today, we're playing Dagon. I know little to nothing about this. I know it's an H.P. Lovecraft, and I've never delved into any of the Lovecraft or Lovecraftian stuff, so I'm actually very interested in this. I've thought about reading some of the books. I've thought about just looking at it and having people tell me about it and getting into it. Sort of like SCP in a sense, where you like just watch videos of people sort of divulging everything at it, or read it in like a summarized version. But I feel like that wouldn't give it its due diligence. So we're gonna do this game. This game is rather short. I know that much. I think it's like a 30-minute experience, and it's a visual novel. So it's just gonna be us reading through the overall narrative experience that they give us. It says continue because I wanted to make sure everything ran without a problem, and it did. So let's get into it. Dagon, I could be saying that wrong by the way. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work, focused on story, and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here, and movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
During the game, you will encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey, others reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the elder sign. Ah, that sign. So that's the elder sign. And focus your eyes, we do that by right-clicking? Oh, so that.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
That's how we're starting? We're just going to start with something heavy like that?
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Oh, so it's so dark. And so, I know Lovecraftian is like existential horror. So it's like literally eldritch. You read something and it's so bad that it hurts your mind to even know it and its existence. So you try to escape it. Either by death, in this case, or by trying to be forgetful, which you could do by, well, you know, alcohol, drugs, many different things. Morphine entered into the use in the 19th century and was routinely administered to treat severe pain during the American Civil War 1861 to 1865 and World War I 1914 to 1918. It was also sold without restrictions until 1914. Morphine became more popular after the invention of hypodermic syringe around 1854. Frederick, I'm not gonna act as if I'm going to say that right, Frederick Sertner, who first isolated the substance, originally named it morphemium, after Morpheus, the Greek god associated with dreams. At the time when Dagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, already posed a big problem in the United States. I want to see how good I can get at reading. You can read the discovery trivia immediately or go back to them later on in the main menu. Turn off displaying the trivia if you find that. No, show them. I like it. Anything else? Or is it just the morphine? Alright. I think it says also what's going to advance. You saw that little arrow?
The most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific, that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German Sea Raider.
The German Sea Raider. Lovecraft in the Great War. Dagon was written around a month after the United States entered World War I. Lovecraft was actively interested in its course. He composed many poems in which he gave encouragement to soldiers and commented on the events unfolding in Europe. He tried to enlist in the army, which he mentions in one of the letters to Reinhard Kleiner. Some time ago, impressed by my entire uselessness in the world, I resolved to attempt enlistment despite my almost invalid condition. I argued that if I chose a regiment, I've always suffered with that word. I argued that if I chose a regiment soon to depart for France, my sheer nervous force, which is not inconsiderable, might sustain me till a bullet or a piece of shrapnel could more conclusively and effectively dispose of me. Letters to Reinhard Kledner, H.P. Lovecraft. But even though he passed the physical exam, his mother prevented him from going to war. She has threatened to go to any lengths, legal or otherwise, if I do not reveal all the ills which unfit me for the army. I am Providence, the life and times of H.P. Lovecraft, S.T. Josie. Cannon fire or gunfire?
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation. So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
POWs. The Huns. The Huns were Central Asian nomads who established a dominion in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. They were known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. During World War I, the British used the word Hun as a synonym for Germans in order to emphasize their brutality. However, the term originated when the German Emperor William II gave a speech to his troops on the 27th of July in the 1900s, before they embarked to China. Should you encounter the enemy, he will be defeated. No quarter will be given. Prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls into your hands is forfeited, just as 1,000 years ago the Huns under the King Attila made a name for themselves, one that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German. The refusal to take prisoners was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the First Hague Convention of 1899. Yes, war crimes. The many of them that have happened in our history that we act as if they didn't happen because why would we want to look at them? To gaze upon the horror is always worse than to let it, quietly whisper in the darks. In the dark, and only those who are willing to look in will actually come to learn of their knowledge.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
This is the first time there's been one without anything. Okay. That or it's hidden well. You look straight up, it's a flag right above your head.
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
Well, that's about what would happen when I could never, ever, even if it's my life on the line, do this shit and try to escape on a boat. It would not work. A big boat, yes. This, no. Ocean, Quick little story that, interjecting here a little bit. Quick little story. I, for whatever reason, decided to get on a canoe. I only noticed this looking back. Because at the time, it didn't really prop in my head that I should, even worry about it. I am not the best swimmer. I could swim to some degree, but not greatly. Now, my family was like, yo, let's go on a canoe. We're going clamming. So we went clamming. We're going to the river, right? It did not process in my mind that at any moment, if that canoe happened to tip over or something, I was royally fucked. That was about it. It was just, whoop. I want to say I had a life jacket, but I don't think I did. And if I did, even if I did, the likelihood of me not panicking in that moment would be very little. Because it's one thing to tell someone not to panic, and that's what we drill into us in general, people. whenever like crises come about. But it's another thing to be in the experience and trying not to panic.
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
Yeah, this would drive me mad. I would be completely mad. I like being alone, not this much though.
Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Because all it would take is seeing the wrong fucking thing and I'd lose my shit. The ocean is the thing that we know the fucking littlest about. That in space, obviously. Could have been in the water. There was one.
Kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
That's a lot of hope, my man. This is when hope and fucking ideals get tested like all hell. Crises and things like this. As well as your ability to actually micromanage. Because you want to drink more water, but you know if you drink more water, you're going to have a damn problem in your hands. I see you.
The Return to Short Stories. Dagon was written in July 1917 and first published in 1919 in The Vagrant, an amateur magazine focused on the supernatural. The story is the first of his stories that introduced an element from the Cthulhu mythos. Dagon itself, a pagan cult worshipping Dagon, later appears in the shadow over Innsmouth, one of Lovecraft's most popular works. 1917 is also the year when he wrote The Tomb, a story about Gervas Dudley, a daydreamer who discovers a mysterious mausoleum. There we go. A mysterious mausoleum in the woods by his house and becomes obsessed with it. These two works mark Lovecraft's return to short stories, writing after he burned most of his attempts at the genre 9 years prior and decided to concentrate on poetry. Lovecraft stated that it was his friend, William Paul Cook, a literacy publisher and critic, who convinced him to start writing weird fiction again.
Can there only be one? We don't know, actually. I'm gonna quickly. Nope. Alright. So if that was nauseating or something, I don't think it should have been,
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue.
That's the hardest part. That's the thing you got to do in any survival scenario is actually keep a good mindset. That's the number one thing they'll tell you. Like people who have there's people who like to live in wilderness, and I don't mean just like that's how they live, like off the grid. I'm talking people who like to do it occasionally. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna go live out in the woods for like a month. Why not? I'm gonna just live with nature. So they just have their friend drive them off, or they drive themselves off. They go off to like a remote ass location, and then they stay in the woods far away from like humanity for like a month or so. They'll tell you the number one thing is like mindset, to make sure you get everything that you know you're gonna need. I'm looking up at the sun. I can't look anywhere else.
The change happened whilst I slept. Its details I shall never know.
Oh.
For my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
A squid? What the fuck am I looking at? Is this giant squid? See, you're dead. Think. You're not. Obviously. Great observation, Sherlock. What the fuck? Is this even our planet? Let's continue.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see, and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away. Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished. For there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core. The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
Ah, I see what he means. That shit. Right there. I've seen those things before. I don't know what the fuck they're called, right? I think. I've seen something like that. Is that a fucking skeleton right there too? Or is that a boot print? Right there above it. I don't know. There's another one of those over there. And then obviously there's the trap from fucking Clone Wars right there on the ground.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity.
It's crazy, you know? Silence is the one thing that is the most... how should I word this? Not the most. Silence itself can be bliss, but also a cacophony of noise, despite the fact that it's the lack of noise.
There was nothing within hearing, and nothing in sight, save a vast reach of black slime.
There's more
Yet
of them.
The very
There's a
completeness
fish.
of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
It's like you've been taken.
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
There's no way in hell there isn't one in the sky. I will live by that. Watch there not be one and I'm going to be upset. Come on, there has to be one in the sky. Oh, there you are. Why are you? Oh, I feel like I've seen you before. Something like that. Is that a hermit crab flipped upside down? A big one, a big ass one.
Dagon seems to be inspired by Fishhead, a short novel by Iron S. Cobb about unnatural affinities between a hybrid idiot and the strange fish of an isolated lake. Supernatural horror in literature, H.P. Lovecraft. A Lovecraft's dream about a strange island emerging from the ocean and him crawling in the ooze that covered its surface. I dream that whole hideous crawl and can yet feel the ooze sucking me down. In defense of Dagon, H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft's interest in the topic stemmed from his aversion to fish and sea smells. In his own words, I have hated fish and feared the sea and everything connected with it since I was 2 years old. But I cannot recall what earlier experience gave me such a profound and lasting aversion to the sea and seafood. The Dweller in Darkness. Lovecraft, 1927. Donald Wandre? My God, I can look all the way up. Jesus. Come on. I wish to learn all your secrets, damn it. I've always been that person. The number one thing that would make me fall to madness or lose my shit, 100% would be knowledge. You know, like Star Wars, how they have like fall to the dark side? That would be my fall. It wouldn't be like emotions that most people do, like anger and fucking passion. It'd be purely based on the concept of I want more information. But you can't learn that. It'll drive you mad. We won't know until I read it, okay?
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
You're no longer on the plane of existence, or you ended up on a shore. Is that what you're gonna say?
Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
That's an interesting concept. I don't think it's any way plausible. It'd be very interesting if it was, though. That'd be like how islands are made, but in a new way.
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
What the hell is that? What that? A holla. We saw that. That was that. The fuck is that? That's moving. It's undulating and shit. Nope. I didn't see that. I saw everything else. What the fuck is that big lump over there?
Foul to prey upon the dead things.
Yeah. We ain't gonna talk about this. It's right.
The mystery of volcanic islands. Volcanic eruptions sometimes result in the creation of islands. Most of them are transient and erode after some time, but some prove permanent. The floating porous rock created when superheated, pressurized rock is ejected from a volcano, can move across long distances and transport barnacles and macroalgae that cling to it. In 2001, rafts of pumice created during the eruption of a volcano near Tonga,
Jesus. English? Now what was that?
Polynesia, eventually reached Australia.
Oh, damn. Anything else? Any other hidden knowledge, secrets? I'm a goddamn lore goblin, one moment. I do think I really should read some of his short stories and stuff. That's what this is doing.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens. As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time.
I mean, you could have been traveling on it. I don't think you'll lose yourself. Ooh, what? Ooh. Sorry, real quick. Question. Would you rather be lost at sea, dealing with the not seeing any, like he was, right? So you can't see any land and you don't know where you're going? Or would you rather be lost in the middle of a desert? Same exact situation. You have some provisions and whatnot to last you a little bit of time. One, you're on land, the other, you're on the ocean. Both have their, risks and things that you have to deal with and, nature issues. Which one would you rather put up with? The ocean or the harshness of the desert? That one fucking tentacle that goes around this goddamn thing that caught my eye a moment ago. Are you not going to do it now? Made me look crazy? Okay, there it is.
That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
I mean, that's all you can do at that point. I'm more amazed these things are still fucking living and moving around. Neurologically, that shit dies out after a while, yeah? Did they really not put one in the sky? Have like a dev or somebody who's like completed the whole game, be like, nah, we didn't put one in the sky. And we're like, God damn it. Wasted so goddamn long looking at the sky.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease. The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
I mean, yeah, rotting dead fish, as well as mud and salt from the sea that you once was there. It'd be actually very interesting to have more visual novels sort of like this. Not the, well, yes, interpreting a book or a short story, but also this like format. It's basically a point and click, but like in a more than just static image.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
It's crazy. Now he's in the opposite, the situation I was saying. I was like, would you rather be in a situation where you're lost in the desert or lost at sea? And now he's lost in the desert. No, quite a different topography than what you're used to in terms of desert. Come on. The moment I don't look in the goddamn sky is going to be the moment it's there. I know it. I feel it in my soul. Oh, nothing to say? That's a bit weird. All right. What the fuck? What is this? I don't even know what the hell died. Okay. That's a whale. Damn. Just damn. You gotta be real careful with that too. Ain't it? Yeah, it is whales. I don't remember if you have to do anything about it though. I remember though that they can explode when they die. It's a whole biological thing.
That night, I encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
Yeah?
What am I surrounded by? Because realistically, how the fuck did this thing get in the ground?
The horrors of the ocean. The creator of Cthulhu mythos and the fictional underwater city of Rylith was convinced that life could not exist at the bottom of the ocean because the water pressure would make it uninhabitable. Today we know that the darkest depths of the ocean are home to many peculiar organisms. The deepest dwelling fish we have discovered so far, the Mariana snailfish, can live about 8,000 meters, more than 26,000 feet below the ocean surface, in never-ending darkness and at hellishly crushing pressures, hundreds of times stronger than those found at sea level. Upon glancing at the modern photos of deep-sea creatures, such as the anglerfish, the fangtooth, or the viperfish, and their truly Lovecraftian characters, it's hard not to find some irony in this.
Oh god, that bring back sound is just... It's a little unnerving, but I think that's the point. You click off and it's like, yeah, you read that. Now watch this knowledge slowly make you forget.
By the fourth evening, I attained
driven
the base
insane
of the mound,
or mad.
which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance.
Yeah.
An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface. Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill.
Oh god.
I know not why my dreams were so wild that night. But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more. Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
Without the my journey would have cost because of the heat and whatnot. Sorry, the sound dropped for a moment there, and I was like, what?
Indeed,
I mean, yeah.
I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
It'd be colder, though. It'd be colder.
The Loner. Contrary to popular opinion, Lovecraft was not an ever frowning or eccentric, grumpy loner. He considered himself to be a person who appreciated humor. Moreover, he would often meet with friends in his apartment or at various cafes in Brooklyn and Manhattan. At times, his social life was so intense, his work would suffer for months. There was a point when he finally decided he needed to put an end to daily meetings and loitering in New York cafeterias, and resorted to hiding at home and reading with the main room light turned off, pretending he wasn't there whenever a friend knocked in his door. He also had another method of deterring his guests, which involved greeting them in a bathrobe, with an unmade bed visible in the background and a pile of papers scattered across the floor.
Smart. The ways you deter people. I don't think there's going to be two, but I'm going to do it anyways. volcano? No, it's that cloud.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me.
Yeah?
But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine.
Oh.
I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
Damn.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost, and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness.
That just lit up.
As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Are we willing to gaze into the abyss, even though we know for a fact it will gaze back? I don't think we have any choice in the matter.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent.
Oh.
Whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
You're taking the plunge. I mean, by all means, it couldn't be me.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath.
Oh, so he's like pulled by an unknown entity to do into the abyss, like I said.
Gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated. All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me. An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
So obviously that. I think that's going to move us closer. Anything? Well, not much we can do. We're already in the hole.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
It's rather large, as well as very unusual nature to make just a long fucking piece of stone not attached to anything.
But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature.
Yep, I mean, that's that.
A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express.
Let me gaze around the abyss one last time before I move even closer to the crazy thing that lies in front of me. Jesus. All right.
For despite its enormous magnitude and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith, whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures.
Yeah, I understood that. Maybe there's an intelligent species underground, well, not underwater, or were underwater, now not. Or the opposite. Before the water was there, depending on what specifically we're talking about. But water was not always on the planet.
Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
Meaning, you approached. Yeah. I don't blame him. There's a certain point where curiosity would be there.
The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the
What the
towering
hell?
steeps that hemmed in the chasm. and revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope. Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
Yeah. A lot of them look like fish.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books.
Yeah, and all those are fish creatures that we actually know. Sea turtle, hammerhead. I think it's supposed to be a great white with a shark down there. Yeah. The shells.
Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like. Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world.
What, I guess this main one? I can't see that right now because of the glare.
But whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Storytelling methods. Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings, At the Mountains of Madness, The Nameless City, journals and character notes, The Shadow Out of Time, The Haunter of the Dark, islands emerging from the ocean, The Call of Cthulhu, or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies. Migo and the Whisperer in Darkness. It's also considered the origin of the popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of the Lovecraftian other stories also conclude in a manner similar to Dagon, but let's skip the details in order not to spoil the ending. Well,
plainly visible across the intervening water on account of their enormous size were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré.
of a Dora.
I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men.
Huh.
Though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto, or paying homage at some monolithic
Mermaids?
shrine, which appeared to be under the waves as well.
Huh.
Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail.
It's not even... They're like humanoid, but not just pure mermaid, like the fish, but like that one over there has more like a... That face is almost like draconic.
For the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer.
Oh. We get to see directly what they look like. The squish faces, distorted.
They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips.
Yeah.
Glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall.
I feel like all of those are because they're underwater. Because like fish have glassy eyes, right? And bulging eyes.
Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their seeming background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
Oh, damn. Yeah, shit. That literally make them... Goddamn, Jesus. How big is the average whale? It depends on the species of whale. I still imagine like 30, like 30 feet. Give me one more. I'm a search dad, but it's probably gonna not give me a correct answer. Yeah, the average length of a mature female whale is the blue whale is 22 meters. 24 for central western. It depends also where they are in the ocean. Not that surprising, and like I said, it's gonna depend on the type of whale.
I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe.
I didn't even make that correlation. That's a nice correlation. That's an interesting correlation.
Some
Shit.
tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
Yeah. Well, what happens if they're not dead and we just don't see them because they're so far deep in the ocean?
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
Oh, the water.
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters. Polyphemus-like and loathsome, it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith, about which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds.
Oh.
I think I went mad then. Of my frantic ascent of the slope and cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
Damn. The crazy thing is also, you think about it, that means that thing was somehow in the water. Oh yeah, now he's losing it. Climb the mountain. Shouldn't have gazed into the abyss. This is the fuck I should have done.
I believe I sang a great deal, and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
Damn. You're just hoping it's not behind you.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat. At any rate, I know that I heard bells of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods.
How'd you
When
get
I
back?
came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital.
Oh. So it was all in your head.
Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean. In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention. Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
So the question is, did you dream it? Or was it all just, there? Did it all happen to your consciousness? The journalist. Lovecraft was a prominent figure in the world of amateur journalism. In 1915, he started publishing his own journal called The Conservative, which included political and social commentary. Poetry, short stories, and literary criticism written by him and other authors. Howard was such a skilled wordsmith, but he also took criticisms to heart, which resulted in his decision to step away from writing poetry and concentrate on weird fiction again. For the first time since his teenage years, Dagon, published in 1919, is one of the short stories written during that period. In this example excerpt from The Conservative, the master of horror fiction explains his attitude towards warfare and the idea of world peace. Why any sane human being can believe in the possibility of universal peace is more than the Conservative can fathom. Should the entire civilized world agree simultaneously to disarm, one or more nations would undoubtedly retain secret armaments and at the proper time take advantage of the more altruistic and less astute contemporaries in a wild career of conquest against unarmed victims. No country is or ever can be above warfare until the basic impulses of the human animal shall have miraculously changed. Damn. I agree with parts of it. Personally, I'm one of those people. I don't think war is going to fully ever stop. It's one of the constants. I'll stop there. No, I don't think it's a good thing, but I also don't think it's a bad thing either. It depends on the intentions of what caused the war. I'm gonna stop there because obviously we got a lot of shit going on in our time right now already. Don't have to say that. It's already right there.
The atheist. Lovecraft considered himself an atheist and an absolute materialist, which he attributed partly to his earlier childhood interest in astronomy and science in general. In his own words, "I am indeed an absolute materialist, so far as actual belief goes, with not a shred of credit and of credence in any form of supernaturalism, religion, spiritualism, transcendentalism, metapsychosis, or immortality. All I say is that I think it is damned unlikely that anything like a central cosmic will, a spirit's world, or an internal survival of a personality exist. They are the most preposterous and unjustified of all the guesses which can be made about the universe, and I am not enough of a hair splitter to pretend that I don't regard them as errant and negligible moonshine. In theory, I am an agnostic, but pretending the appearance of radical evidence, I must be classed, practically and provisionally, as an atheist." Sources: Against Religion, The Atheist Writings of H.P. Lovecraft, Mythos, The Myths and Tales of H.P. Lovecraft, and Robert E. Howard.
Fair. That's how we are, though. We as people will come up with our own concepts. Good or bad. That our character?
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist.
Ethnologist.
And amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Ethnologist, a person who studies different societies and cultures. There you go. And amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god. Ah, so that's who we saw. Potentially.
Dagon was the main deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad, Mesopotamia, chose him as the patron saint of their war conquest. He also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem, and an underworld prison warden in one of the Babylonian texts. He is often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name, as in Hebrew the word dag means fish. In H.P. Lovecraft works, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones, a humanoid race with fish traits that reside in the oceans. He is worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon.
Well then. So that's progression. Huh, so that bared everything right there. That's interesting. It's a very interesting concept. I love things like that, like stories and stuff. So like I'm just one of those people who's going to be interested in just the fucking concepts alone. Yeah? The bell? Okay.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
Oh, okay.
August Derleth and the Cthulhu Mythos. August Derleth was an American writer and anthologist. He also befriended Lovecraft and published many of his works through his company, Arkham House. Although he greatly contributed to the popularization of the author's works after his death, he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of his most questionable decisions involved introducing the good versus evil doctrine. Derleth was a devout Catholic, to the Cthulhu's mythos, which contrasted with Lovecraftian's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horror. As a result, the author's works are often misunderstood and misrepresented in today's culture. It is also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in creating a mythology, and the term Cthulhu mythos was coined by Derleth after the author left the mortal plane. Aha! The Marketer. Lovecraft's attempts to find a job in 1925 were influenced by advice he'd received from friends. Among others, he started freelancing for a marketing magazine, where he could write announcements and commercials. Feel free to judge his copywriting skills for yourself. From an ad for Curtis Woodwork. Curtis Woodwork embraces both the usual structural units and the cleverant contrivance of built-in or permanent furniture, such as bookcases, dressers, buffets, buffets, and cupboards. Every model is conceived and created with the purest art, ripest scholarship, and mellowest craftsmanship which energetic enterprise can command, and made to conform rigidly to the architecture of each particular type of home. The cost, considering the quality, is amazingly low, and a trademark on the individual pieces prevents any substitution by careless contractors. Source: Lovecraft Studies, Volume 7, Number 1, H.P. Lovecraft, S.T. Joshi. That's interesting. A little bit of extra bit into him. Interesting that you have nothing to say. You just wanted to walk over here? What? Why is it? That's gonna throw me off because it makes me think there's something here. No, don't you do. Fuck you. Fuck you. Now I'm like, okay, what am I missing? I know I'm blind. Damn it. I know I'm bad at seeing shit when it's directly in front of me. Why would you do this? I will begrudgingly... Oh my god, Jesus. Lag. I will begrudgingly go ahead and click.
It is at night,
And now we're back.
especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
Ah, Dagon.
I tried morphine,
Yeah, like I said, he's gonna try things to try to forget it. Yeah.
but the drug has given only transient surcease, and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave. So now, I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
Well, shit. That's all I got. I had nothing more. Just well, shit.
Lovecraft wanted tobacco and alcohol. Lovecraft hated tobacco, even though he used to smoke when he was 12, in order to look and feel like an adult. In his correspondence with friend Reinhard Kleiner, he claims that he quit as soon as he started wearing long pants. He also had a very strong opinion about alcohol, as evidenced by his letter to Celia Brown, dated 13th February 1928. As for the matter of drinking, I have never tasted intoxicating liquor and never intend to, having a strong aesthetic disgust at anything which blunts or coarsens the delicate natural equipoise of the evolved human intellect and imagination. Drinking excited my personal repugnance, hence I don't drink. Let the herd do what they will. I am rather in favor of prohibition, the prohibition of any one of antisocial force, as well as any other. Source: The Spirit of Revision, Lovecraft's Letters to Zelia Brown, Reed Bishop, H.P. Lovecraft, Sean Branley, and Andrew Lehman, S.T. Joshi. I'm actually of that almost same sentiment when it comes to the alcohol. I don't like it because it's like, why would I want to make myself worse? It's pretty much strong for me. I'm okay with other people do it. It's your body. I'm not the one doing it, but like me, no, I don't drink because of that.
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm.
Yeah. A machination of the mind.
but a dream.
Freak of fever as I lay sun-stricken and raving
Yep,
in
heat
the
streak
open
would be a
boat
thing.
after
Heat
my
streak,
escape
heat stroke.
from the German man of war. This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind.
Oh, damn.
Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
Well, then, okay. That changes a lot. It's not just fear of them, but you also like them in a sense. Well, I like them. It's more like you detest your own society and species, whilst also, interesting. Not many would be able to think as such. No, it's like, well, a lot actually could with the right circumstances.
The end is near.
God damn.
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
He can't get in here. He's too fucking big for that. Actually, he make his own door. What the hell am I talking about? Don't worry, it's just my neighbor knocking. God damn it.
It shall not find me.
Hey, how you doing?
God, that hand! The window! The window!
Yeah, he'd do it. I get it. Insanity. Yeah. There's not gonna be anything else. If there was, it would have been there, and I just didn't click it. We hope you enjoyed immersing yourself in our little pool of cosmic horror. We would appreciate it if you took a moment to rate Dagon and check out of other. Oh yeah, we'll do. I may check out even some of the others. Anyways, well, I'm gonna let this load.
And scary stories have been accompanying men for centuries. They have many faces and forms, but what is their purpose? Why do we enjoy being afraid so much? During our therapy, I'll try to...
Dr. Emerson's Nocturnes will guide you through the colors of dread. That's actually very interesting. Yeah, I am, yes. Not now. We'll deal with that after. We'll do that with that. Deal with that after. All right. Go ahead and exit. Unlock. Yeah, I don't think I got all of them, did I? I missed one. I missed the 4. I missed 5. God, I'm telling you, one of them was in the sky, and it's going to piss me off. Did I miss more? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did I? Or was that just Dagon? Oh, okay. Those are other games. Okay. Oh. If I didn't find them, I didn't find them. That's fine. We'll let that go. Well, that was Dagon. I actually really like that. I like stories and stuff like that. Like, what's it called? It's playing off of, see, mythos now sounds wrong because it wasn't mythos until after the author died. But I like playing off of mythos, like mythology in general, like playing off of the gods and concept of these greater celestial beings or something like that. So that aspect I really like. It's also very interesting to just think about and combine the theories of how everything has come to existence to where we are today, as well as some bit of knowledge or something being so crazy or mind-boggling that it sticks with you so much that it basically traumatizes you. But it's not just something like a physical trauma. It's more mental. So it's not like typical associated would be like war, right? It's trauma more so from you basically reading something or seeing something for the first time, which I guess could be associated with the war because you see the right things, right? Hell is war on earth. War is hell on earth. You understood what the hell I meant. Anyways, I really like those kind of things. So I may actually look into it on my own anyways. And I may play more of the games associated. I don't know. But I had fun with this. This was a nice, short little experience that I didn't really think I was going to like as much. I was just like coming into it pretty neutral. Oh, solid. Nice. I sort of want to look into it more, like I said. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this short little venture with me. If you did, click that like button. If you guys are new to the channel, click that subscribe button and it'll be another one of videos. If you guys wish to be notified when I upload, click that notification bell so you guys will be notified in your email and on YouTube when I upload. Other than that, hopefully have a great day, and I will catch you homies next. Low tide.
Fuck this pain. Fuck the whole world trying to step on my dreams. Heard you talk shit, now you fucking with me. Reaper that seal couldn't contain the beast. 10-tail bomb on ginger a key. Fuck your whole team, they all fell with ease. I'm a black cyclone, run through the trees. I will rain death, just fall to your knees.